from the Solbergs. I am starting this letter in a little village in northeast Thailand. We got here early this morning. Meetings have been going on all day. It is now 3 p.m. and I am wondering where we'll sleep tonight. 6 different churches in the North Karat area are celebrating First Fruits festivals. This is a new way of giving for them. People are bringing the first of their rice crops or garden produce to the church. People come any time during the meetings bringing rice, vegetables, or even chickens. I had many interruptions, but I went right on teaching a visual lesson about angels. Because Thai people fear spirits so much, we need to tell them how angels protect Christians. When we left our home for this 10-day trip, we had to bring so many things along. Drinking water, sleeping bags with mosquito nets, pillows, medicine kit, lessons to teach, books to sell, tracts to give out, and our suitcases. We had some help loading our pickup. On the way here, a huge truck headed straight for us. Elmer went off the road as much as possible. Wow, that was close. We are glad that you are praying for us. We stopped to look at a burned-out tour bus. 20 people burned to death the day before, including an American man. The bus had tried to pass a truck and hit another truck. We found out that there is no place to sleep in this village because of all the leprosy here. It is sad to see the disfigured faces and hands and watch the people hobble around on deformed feet. But how these people do love the Lord. We had to go back to a small town to hunt for a place to sleep. Finally found a place in an old Chinese inn. We had to leave the pickup parked on the road, so carried in most of our things for safekeeping. We drove on to another small village. There wasn't even a church building here, so we met under a shelter built beside the home of a Christian family. Many of the Buddhist neighbors came to the meetings. It wasn't until late afternoon that we finally found out where we would be sleeping that night. In a huge empty room over a store. The owner made us shut all the windows because he was afraid robbers might come to steal from the foreigners. We were exhausted, no rest all day. Elmer was under his mosquito net, ready to sleep, and I was just going to crawl under mine when we heard voices call up to us. "We want to see how you sleep in those bags that you carried upstairs." Up the steps trooped 3 women, 3 children, and the man who owned the store. They inspected all of our bedding and asked many questions, and sat around chatting. Then they finally left. Maybe you are wondering why we sleep under nets. Mosquitoes out here carry malaria and dengue fever. I have already had dengue fever twice, and I know why it is called a back-breaking disease. Are you curious about what and how we eat on these trips? Usually Usually we eat right with the people, though it is difficult for me to sit on the floor. At almost every place we go, we get dried fish. I am not too fond of that. But there is sticky rice and curries too. If we are in a place where there are leprosy people, someone who does not have leprosy fixes the food and we eat separately. There are no electric dishwashers out in the villages. No hot water either. On to the village of Huirahat. There was a nice church building there. Right in the middle of Elmer's message, an odd-looking made-in-Thailand truck pulled up at the side door of the church. Men carried 5 sacks of rice right up to the front of the meeting. Elmer waited while the sacks were carried in, and then he went right on preaching. After all-day meetings, we left to go sleep in another area where there was an empty one-room pastor's house. There wasn't a piece of furniture, but we did enjoy the privacy. They even had built a special outhouse at this place. At night, Elmer pulled up the steps to keep the dogs out. That night, a terrible windstorm shook our frail little house. Both of us, under our mosquito nets, prayed that the poles which held up the house wouldn't fall down. The next day, we had meetings from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. Only had time out to eat a noon meal. Because we may not return here for months, the people are anxious to learn all they can. We left our things in the locked church, as the house had no doors. We went on to a nearby church for day meetings and returned to sleep again in our little house. It was terribly hot that day. We both were so tired, but no place to rest. I always take along a folding chair and try to get a little rest. Elmer teaches while I rest. When I am teaching, Elmer tries to get some rest, but people usually come around to ask questions. At each place, many children come to stare at the foreigners. Some villages have water pumps. The little ones enjoy the cool water. Buffalo know how to keep cool in this hot climate. On the highway, we stopped at a bus waiting place to eat the last of some bread we had. It had turned moldy, but we just took off the outside. We had a hot water thermos along and fixed some instant coffee. We continued on to the last church on our schedule. Leaders from the area were gathered there, so we spent 3 days in that place. As we drove, I wondered where we would sleep in that village. I remembered our last visit there. We had been put in a room over grunting pigs. Buffalo were under the house, too. All night they kept rubbing against the poles, felt as if there were an earthquake. A woman in the village took us to her nice, new 2-story house. I expected a good room in this house, but she put us in the hall. We finally talked her into giving us a storeroom, but we had to first clean out all the rice sacks and the cobwebs. This woman owned 3 fierce dogs that I call the monsters. Every time we left the safety of that second floor, we had to have that woman or her son escort us. No bathroom had been built in the new house. We took our baths in the garden where there was a large jar of water. We had to use the neighbor's outhouse. Had to run an obstacle course to even get there. Fallen trees, broken fence, all kinds of junk. Had to have our escort, of course, because of those monsters. It was a good thing I remembered to bring flashlights. No electricity out in this area. I'm afraid of snakes, which are too plentiful out here. At 2 in the morning, the roosters crowed. The Thai roosters have this habit. The pastors and elders of the area gather to exchange ideas and discuss ways to handle problems. Elmer reminds the Christians about the 25th article of the Thai Constitution, which gives the Thai people the freedom to worship the religion of their choice. Maybe some of the Christians do not realize what wonderful privileges they do have. The Thai leaders are very interested in news about the EFT, the Evangelical Fellowship of Thailand. This organization gives the churches recognition by the government. We sell Christian books and hymnals at special prices during these meetings. I provide visual aids and teach the leaders how to use them. We encourage churches to hold communion services. Sometimes we give them communion cups and trays when smaller churches have no way to get them. The Thai Christians want Elmer to dedicate their babies. At this last church, students from Central Bible School joined us for this special First Fruit Festival. In between meetings, the people come to talk to us about personal problems or share special joys. We have known some of these people for over 25 years. At one of the night meetings, a centipede came to the service. Almost all the women and children jumped right up on the benches. We are very happy to see how wonderfully the churches of this area responded in giving of their first fruits. But we were really tired when all the meetings were finished. Visiting churches in the country is hard work. We need some young people to take over these ministries. We are back in our house in Udon now. I know where I'll be sleeping tonight. All the sleeping bags and nets are being aired for the next trip. I really do appreciate my good bed after sleeping on the floor for so many nights. Right after we got home, Elmer had to go to Bangkok for a business meeting. While he was there, a coup, a revolution, took place.
VOA correspondent Stephen Thompson is in Bangkok and has this report.
This makes 14 that we have had since we came to Thailand in 1950.
This is seen here as a solid indication.
There are usually some border troubles around, too. Keep praying that Thailand will remain open to missionaries. Goodbye for now. With love from Corrine and Elmer.